Okay, so let's talk about how to use custom label in Lightning Web Component, how to reuse the CSS. So far, we have created the CSS separately, right? The CSS separately means every component has its own .css file, and then we are just putting the CSS there. Let's say that there is some use case where you have some global CSS that you wanted to put within a single file. Maybe it could be static resource, or it could be, let's say, a common component where you wanted to put everything, and then you just wanted to utilize it everywhere in the other components. That's the reusable CSS. And then we are going to see toast event. So you might have seen that whenever you are getting any error, or you are able to create a record successfully, it actually gives you the success records. Says that, okay, record is created. Sometime it gives you the links, and sometime it doesn't give you the link. Okay, that's what we are going to see as part of toast event. If we talk about custom labels, I hope you all know what custom labels are, but I'm going to just give you a brief overview about custom labels. So custom labels are basically used to store the static values, like it could be the token. Token means some static tokens that you wanted to use it for some reference, maybe calling the APIs, or you could use some static labels in your Lightning Web component. Say you created a form, so anything that you are displaying is static, you wanted to put with the help of a custom label, so that later on you can do the translation whenever your client is working for multi-language. So let's say that you're working for a client, and that client is actually working for multiple languages. It could be English, French, Russia, it could be Japanese, it could be Chinese, it could be multiple languages are out there, right? So you could just go ahead and use custom labels and translate the values, and your Lightning Web component is going to work, remain intact. Basically, you really don't need to change. If you're using a custom label, it's that simple that you really don't need to do anything. Okay, how you use in your Lightning Web component, this is the syntax. Simple, as we talked about, right? We need to import something, so we need to import the labels. And where we are going to import the label is, we are going to import the label from Salesforce label and the label reference. And what the label reference is, we will see how to exactly write that. Okay. So first, let's see how we are going to write the custom labels. So what we have to do is, for custom label, we really need maybe quite 2 or 3 custom labels to see the demo. So to create the custom labels, we need to navigate to setup and then search for custom labels. And then click on new custom label. So I didn't add any. So let's say I'm going to create a custom label called first name. And then I'm going to put here the value as first name. And let's create multiple labels. It could be last name. And then one more we will create as email. Okay. So I've just created 3 different custom labels, and we've got those 3 custom labels here. And we wanted to utilize these custom labels in our web component. So what we have to do is, we'll quickly go ahead and create a Lightning Web component, and we will say custom labels. And here, as we talked about, we need to import the custom label. So let's say we wanted to import first name. So we'll say first name from, we're going to say @Salesforce label. Okay. And then we are going to get into the label reference. We are going to get which label it is. So this is our label email, right? So how it is going to refer is, it is going to refer with the help of namespace. So the default namespace is C dot and the name of our label, that is email. And in our case, we could change the name here, says that email. And let's go ahead and deploy this. So we're just trying to see if our syntax is correct or not. So we are able to successfully deploy. That means our syntax is correct. Now we are going to do the copy paste for other 2 labels. And those 2 labels are first name and last name. So you could see here, we've got first name and last name. So let's say first name and last name. Now, if you wanted to use it in the HTML file, let's create a variable called labels. And that's going to be type of object. And let's say we're going to have email, and within the email, we are going to assign this first name. Sorry, we are going to assign email, and we will similarly do for our other two variables, that is first name and last name. Okay, now we wanted to use it in our HTML file. So let's go ahead, quickly create the HTML. We are going to have a card over here. And within the title, we would say custom labels. Please interrupt me if you see that I'm going too fast, and I'll be happy to stop. Okay. Yeah. And here we wanted to, let's say we wanted to display the label. So how you will do is, with the help of curly braces, the name of your variable, as this is an object, under that we've got the variable email. So we will say labels.email. And similarly, we are going to put the other two labels. Okay. First name and last name. And the last thing that we can do is we go ahead and make sure that we are exposing it. Master label, if you want, you can just give it. I just really want to give it, so we will give it. Okay. And we're just exposing it to the default target, like record page, app page, as home page. And let's go ahead and deploy this. This is just a very basic, simple label that we have got, and we really got the error. It says that invalid reference, and that is true because it's an invalid reference, where it says invalid reference c.last name, c.first name. Why it's saying that invalid reference? Because it is first underscore name and last underscore name. And how do I know? So if you go ahead and open the label, you would see there is something called name, and that has a value of first underscore name. And if you try to edit it, that name is not editable. That's now read only. So if you see here, now we are able to deploy our code to the Salesforce org. Let's add this page somewhere here in the home page. Okay, so let's add our component, that is custom labels. And you could see here we've got first name, last name, email, right? Like the way that we have printed email, first name and last name. And we are able to see it. Now later on, if you go ahead and change this, let's say for first name, I wanted to say customer first name, okay? And save it. Now you really don't need to change it because your flow is referencing the custom labels and everything is getting changed automatically. Okay, this was the one way. Now just excuse me for a minute, someone is at my door. Okay, sorry for interruption. Yeah, so we were talking about another use case. Let's say that currently you developed this by keeping in mind that your business is only going to use English. It could be either UK English, Indian English, or US English. Okay. Now later on, they onboarded few customers who are working for, let's say, Japanese. Okay, Japanese customers. So they want to see these, whatever you have custom developed. They wanted to see this as a they wanted to see in their native language, and that's Japanese. Okay, so how you will do is, a few things that we need to do is, first thing, we need to enable the translation workbench. Okay, so from the setup, go to type translate, and you will find translation workbench, and you will see translation language settings. Okay, First, you need to enable this because this translation workbench is basically useful for translating the custom labels or your tabs or the field values. Okay. So we have enabled the translation workbench now, and we need to add the language, what language our business supports. So let's go ahead and click on add. And for which user? So for now, I'm going to select all three users, sorry, all four. And what language is? It is English. Go ahead and click on save. And then similarly, we are going to, okay, these are the translators basically, okay? One is language, and then what is the other language? Let's say we are going to add Japanese. Here it is. And who can translate? For now, let's select all the users can translate. We really don't need to worry. Now we have got two languages. Later on, if you want, you could add the other language like French or Chinese. You could add multiple languages you've got here. Now, after you have enabled the translation workbench, you need to enable the, basically you need to add the translation for your custom label. So let's say here we are here within name, sorry, within email. So click email. Now you see there is a related list called translations. So click on new and which language you wanted to translate for. So by default, first we have to say English. That is our fallback value. We have got translation. Then we need it for French as well. So open the Google Translator, okay? Google Translate, and from English, we wanted to translate French. And we will say email. So you will see this is how French translates. So just do the copy and paste it here and click on save. Now we've got French as well. And we are going to click on new. We've got Japanese. And let's translate to Japanese as well. And you've got, this is how the email looks like in Japanese, and click on save. It's just translating only one field, and then we have to create a user for the testing purpose. So I should already be having a user that's API only, and then I've got admin user, integration user. So I'll just quickly create a new user. Okay. That's going to be a Salesforce system admin. Okay, it's going to be super admin user. Okay. Okay, I've just created a user here. I've got one user here, and what I'll do is I'll go to login access policies. So what we are doing is we are enabling the administrator to log in as any user, so that any user who are created here within the system, you can just go ahead and log in as those. Okay. And then next that I'm doing is I'm basically disabling this setting under session settings, which says force relogin after as user, login as user. So I really don't want it to log in once, relog in once I have logged out. So let's go ahead and now log in with the user. So this is our user, super admin user. We're going to log in. And as this is an admin user, so within the home page, we would be able to see, okay. Now we're not actually able to see the translated things here. The reason because we really need to go ahead and change the language. So let's change the language to the user. We are going to edit. And you would see this is the time zone, language is English. We wanted to have Japanese. Okay, and then language as well, we wanted to have Japanese. Let's go ahead and click on save now. So this time we should be able to see the Japanese translation. You could see here, we are going to translate in Japanese, and you could see here clearly that everything is translated in Japanese. Like most of the things are already translated because these are standard, and our custom label value has also been translated. So basically you would be able to easily utilize for multiple languages, and our flow, not flow, our LWC is not even at all being touched. No matter how many what we'll say, how many different languages you are adopting or your business is getting into. Okay, so that's the one benefit of using custom labels. I always prefer to use custom labels for my development whenever I develop for the client, basically not for myself, because it's really hard to manage the custom labels every time you put it. But always try to use custom label for the clients if you have to use the static messages, especially if you're trying to display static message which are a paragraph or that kind of thing. So you can easily change those. It's not about translating, it's also about the managing the change. You can easily manage those changes. Now let's talk about sharing the CSS. So we have already seen how you could we have already talked about what is the use of having a common CSS. So let's say that you have a global CSS that is sitting somewhere in the Lightning Web Component. You want it to utilize at multiple places. So you can just utilize it. How? You could create a Lightning Web Component, have a CSS file for that, and then go ahead and utilize it into other components. How? This is an example. You just need to use @import, namespace, and the name of your component, the module. Okay. Before we go ahead, anyone has any questions? What we have just talked about? Okay, I don't see any questions. So let's quickly now create a component called CSS library. Okay, this is going to basically have our library files. Okay, so we've got this CSS library. So what we will do is we are going to create .css file. Okay, and we really don't need this HTML file, so you can go ahead, delete it, or you can keep this as it is. Now in .css file, what we will do is we'll define few CSS. Like for h1, we are going to say color as red. Okay, h1 tag is color as red, and we are going to say font family. Font family could be, I'm just randomly choosing some font family. Okay, and for paragraph, we are going to have a background color as yellow. Okay, and text color we are going to have white or black. Okay, this is just the simple CSS that we have. You could have some classes, maybe like headers. You could have some classes like header where you say position, absolute, or relative. You can just have those kind of CSS. We're just going to have a very simple CSS. Let's go ahead and deploy this. Okay, now we've just deployed, and let's say we wanted to utilize that within our component called custom labels. Okay, so how we could utilize it? First, we have to create the CSS file for our component. So let's create the CSS file. We'll say custom labels.css. And then, as we talked about, syntax is very simple. We'd say @import. Then what is our module? That is C-. And then we've got this CSS library. We really are not doing anything else. And let's go ahead and deploy this as well. So what we did is we said, okay, create a CSS library and then imported that within our custom labels component. Now, what we had is within this CSS, we had got a paragraph which is changing the background, and then we've got also a h1 tag. So let's quickly have a h1 tag here. Okay. And then for h1 tag, what we will do is we'll say, okay, be shared CSS. Okay. And let's deploy this. So we've just basically did a deployment for both the components, and we'll quickly go ahead and refresh this page. So you would see that our component, okay, we're getting some error. Okay, not at all. Not getting, let's see again, refresh it. Okay. Yeah, so basically this error is because of This is really I think Salesforce has not documented it. I remember what really we have to do is we really don't need this HTML file. So let's quickly first delete this. Okay, delete from project and org, or I can just say delete. I really don't need this. I think let me delete from project and org. That should be okay. It should only delete HTML file, not everything. Okay. Okay, we are using. So when we try to delete, it says that we are using it somewhere. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a body here. I'll say font family as courier, and then I'm going to just comment it out this line for now. So basically, this is what really happens is there is a issue with this CSS file. What exactly happens is it really what we said is it really does not considers as CSS library. So sometimes we really need to delete few files. That is, I think, HTML and CSS files. So sorry, HTML and JavaScript file. So it got deleted. And then before I deploy it, I will retrieve this because HTML file is there. That was not deleted. Okay, it says cannot be found if I delete it or deploy it. Okay, it's deployed. So let's see if this works now, because Salesforce had some issues working the CSS library, not CSS library, the common CSS. Okay, you could see here now. Okay, so basically what we need to do is whenever you are trying to make your component work as a CSS library or as a common CSS, you really need to delete the HTML and JavaScript files from your component. Just keep .css and .js-meta.xml file. And you could clearly see this. This h1 tag is red, is color is red, and then it's also changing the font family. And the paragraph background color is basically yellow, and the text color is black. So that's how you have a common CSS. Now you could have multiple CSS over here, and you could use, you could have this way, and there you could have multiple CSS. Now let's say that I also define a h1 tag over here, and I say the color is, this time it's color going to be maybe blue. Okay, and also going to have some font size, maybe larger, and then font style could be maybe italic. Okay, just trying to see what happens. Either this is going to take preference, or this h1 tag is going to take preference. Okay, so if you refresh this, you would clearly see that the CSS h1 tag is getting preference, which is there in your component. So if you have a global CSS and you have defined some CSS at your component label, that CSS is going to take preference, not that global CSS. Okay, any questions so far? Anyone? Okay, I don't see. Okay, so let's talk about the toast event, toast notification in Lightning Web Component. So as the title said, toast event. So basically these are the type of events, the standard events that Salesforce does provide, and we can get this event, that is SoToast event, from the library called Lightning Platform SoToast. Okay, SoToast event. Now, why we use it? We usually use this toast for the like providing the feedbacks to the user. It like when we say providing the feedbacks, that means we really wanted to tell the user that okay, this has been the UI has been created, sorry, the record has been created, deleted, or there has been an error, or there is a warning, there is a information message. So that kind of feedback that we wanted to provide it to the user, we can use toast event. There are some places where toast event does not works, like if you are using your Lightning component within VF page, the toast event is not going to work. If you are using your Lightning component within the Aura application, the toast event is not going to work. Now, as we talked about, this toast event is basically nothing. It is a type of event. So first we have to prepare the event, and then later on we have to dispatch this event with the help of like the same way that we have seen for the other custom events. Okay, that's what we have as part of the toast event notification. Now, how it does really works is, okay, yeah, this is here. So basically, the toast event notification has few things that we really need to keep in mind. Keep in mind is like these are the parameters, especially not the things. So we have parameters like title. This is required parameters. You must need to provide a title to your toast notification. It could be a success, or it could be a error, or it could be something like record created, record saved, record deleted. That could be anything. It is an string type. Okay. Then there is a message. Okay, it is again a required message. It's a string, or it could also contains a placeholder like dollar, not dollar, the curly braces starting from 0 to n. Okay, if your message has a placeholders which is using like this, then you must need to provide the message data. That is optional, and this message data contains the array of strings or object, takes two values, URL and label. Okay, values are replaced with the index placeholder in the message string. How? We will see. Then variant, what is the variant of your event? Sorry, your toast, either it is a success, or it is a failure, or it is a notification, or it is warning. Okay, so you are going to see all the variants for our message. Okay, now we have got mode. What is the mode of our notification? Either it is a sticky that's going to stick until we are going to close this, or it's a dismissible, or basically the default is dismissible, which is going to close after 3 seconds, and sticky is something which is going to like stick there, and you have to manually close this. Okay, this is just a very simple toast notification syntax. You can see here we've got new show toast notification, show toast. These are the parameters we talked about, like title, message. These are the two things which are required. You could say variant, you could say mode as well. And this is how you are going to display the link with the toast notification. How we are going to display, we will see here. Okay, let's first quickly see the very basic toast notification. Any questions so far? So if no questions, what we have to do is we really have to create the component, Lightning Web component, or you can utilize the same Lightning Web component. I'm basically going to use the new components, and then we're going to add it somewhere in the Lightning App Builder pages. So the very first thing that we talked about is going to be import statement. Okay, so let's say import, and it's going to be a method that is so toast event. Okay, and we're going to say from @Salesforce. Okay, not Salesforce. It's going to be Lightning / platform so toast event. Okay, I'll just cross verify it once. It's Lightning / platform so toast event, and so toast event is a method. So we've got it here. Now, as we talked about, right, in the previous callback methods that we can utilize or fire the event in the connected callback or from the rendered callback as well. So we are going to utilize a connected callback here, where I'm going to say let simple toast equal to new so toast event, and it takes the parameters, and then we have to dispatch. So we'll say this dot dispatch event, that's going to be simple toast. Now what it takes title. So it's going to be title, let's say simple toast, Then it takes message. What is a message? I am a message. What is a variant? Okay. So by default, let's see what is it is going to give us, and then mode. So let's say we wanted to give the mode as sticky. Okay. And let's deploy this. We're not going to have anything on the HTML side for now. We'll later on add some buttons on the HTML. Okay, so we got some error which says there is no module lightning platform so toast event. Why it says that lightning platform so toast event. Never mind, we'll take it from the lightning web component library. So it should be toast. There could be some typo mistake. Uh, yes, there was some, I believe. Okay, so let's try to now deploy this. Yeah, it's deployed now. We'll get back to our home page and let's add this component again. So that is okay. This isn't it? It is okay. So notification is our component. So notification. Okay, and we really don't see that notification coming up. You could see here now. It says this is the simple information which says simple toast. I'm a message. So this is your title. This is your message, and this is basically telling us that you are displaying the info type. Okay, the type is info for your toast notification. This is basically nothing, it's an eye. Okay, eye icon, and as we've given the mode as a sticky, it's sticked. You could see here it is sticked, and if you click here, then it's going to close. Okay, now if we go ahead and keep changing, maybe let's say instead of now what we wanted to have is we wanted to have a variant. So variant could be success. Okay, now we have got success. Go ahead and deploy it. So we are going to refresh it. And now you could see this is a green checkbox, green box, which says that basically denotes the success. Okay. And there is something called error. So we are going to also have the error as well. Let's refresh this again. Now you could see here, this is an error icon and the box is red color, which clearly says, okay, there is some error. Now maybe let's say we are going to say error toast. Title is going to be error. And you can say error message here. And then dispatch the error toast as well. Sorry, mode is going to be sticky. Now, similarly, we are going to have success warning. So it's going to be success toast. Title is success. And we will say success message here. And there is one thing, then something called warning toast. And you will say warning message here. And then there is last, that is info. Okay, so we can say info toast. We really don't need to provide the variant for info. Info message here, and we are done. So we've got 3 or 4 toast notifications for us, and we're going to see how many toast notifications are going to be displayed at a time. Okay, we're getting 3 notifications. If I close one, we will get the 4th one. For the 4th one, we are getting the info notification, but for the others, we are only getting the error. The reason because we have not changed the mode. So it's success and then it is warning. So warning one is going to be get displayed into the yellow color, success green, and then error is going to be red. Info we have already seen the gray color. Okay. So now you could see here clearly we've got warning, success, error. So at a time you can only display 3 notification, and if you close any of those, you're going to get the 4th one, or if you have any others. And now if we go ahead and say, let's go ahead and remove the mode that says sticky. Okay. I'm just going to remove the mode for all 4 notifications, and then you will see the magic that it's going to immediately, not immediately, after 3 seconds, the notifications are going to get closed. So let's refresh this. You can see here now the notification has been closed, and this is also going to get closed in 3 seconds. So that's basically the very basic notification that we have seen. And the complex one is displaying the link in the toast notification. What exactly that is, let's quickly get back to our org and try to create an account record. Okay. So, or yeah, let's quickly create an account record. So I'm going to say maybe google.com and save it. So you see a message which says account google.com was created. If I click on this link, it basically take me to the account detail page. We were there in the account detail page at that time. That's why we are still in account detail page. But if we really wanted to have this kind of link in our toast notification, how we could do that, and that is with the help of message data attribute and having the placeholders in our message attribute. Okay. So as we have talked about, message data either contains the arrays or object. So most of the time you're going to utilize this array, and that has only one, that has 2 parameters. One is the Salesforce, and basically this is what we have got, URL. So whatever the URL that you give where you wanted to navigate, and then label that's going to be replaced over here. So how it's going to work, let's first see here. So now we have got success, and let's quickly, I think, comment out these all. And then we are going to have only one notification. Okay. Now let's take one notification. It could be either success or it could be error. So we will say success itself. Yeah. So we are going to take the same, like we will say record. So whatever the name of the records. So if you have seen here, it was saying that the name of our record google.com. Okay. And then we will say was created. Okay. And we will say click here to visit the record. Okay. And this here is basically going to be replaced by 1. And then we are going to have message data. So let's see message data. It's going to take array. Okay. Now it has 2 things. It has this 0, how you wanted to replace 0. So it's going to replace, let's say, google.com. Okay. And then this is 1. So as you wanted to add the link, so what we have to do is you have to utilize curly braces. Okay. And within this curly braces, we have to put this URL where you wanted to navigate. So the first parameter is going to be URL. So let's say that we wanted to say, we just wanted to navigate to the web, that is PantherSchools.com. And then what is this, where we wanted to what label we wanted to display. So we are going to say label, and you can say here. That's what we have here, right? You see we've got label as here, and URL, whatever the URL where you wanted to navigate. And let's this time we are going to also add the mode as well, so that it basically keeps there, like stick there, sticky. Okay. And let's deploy now. We got some error because the reason we're getting this error, because what we have to do is we have to utilize a variable here. So we'll say URL, and we are going to create a variable called let URL, and then deploy it. This time it won't give the error. Earlier it was giving the error because of it was not finding the URL. Okay. Now let's go ahead and refresh this page. And this time you would see that you have got here, right? Record google.com was created. Click here to visit the record. Now, if you click on here, it's going to take you to the web. Okay. So that is basically the link that you wanted to put into your notification. And it could be, maybe you could also want it, you could also try it, let's say that blah, blah, and 3 like this. And maybe you could say here, okay, let's say salesforce.com. I've never tried having like that, but let's see. So you could also say here like this. So let's see here and try to deploy and see if this everything is getting replaced in the notification or not. So you could see here now we've got this salesforce.com is also here. It is also replacing salesforce.com. It's replacing another salesforce.com here, because at both the places we had the same values. So basically, if you have multiple placeholders, you could do this way as well. Okay, that's going to take the URL. So now this is the what basically here we have got 4 placeholders: 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have got 0, we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3. If you really don't wanted to add the link, you could just get rid of this and you could just say the simple things. Let's say now we wanted to have this will work. Okay, because we don't want it to add the link, and we will say this will also work. Okay, because we've got 4 placeholders, we are giving the 4 placeholders here as well. So it's really going to work, and it's going to replace the values for us, and then the dynamic message is getting generated. So it's not about only generating the static message. You could also generate the dynamic message, and you could see here google.com record created, click this will work, this will also work. So you see here, right? Everything is working perfectly fine as part of our notifications as well. So any questions so far? Because we are done. Okay, how we can get the base URL of the org dynamically along with the custom domain, if any? Okay, I was expecting this question. So how you could get this? Have you are you all familiar about the class called location? Everyone is familiar about location class? Yes, window.location. So basically, there is a class called location itself in the JavaScript. Okay, so that actually gives you the URL. So how you get it? You could say location. If you print location in the browser, you will see there are so many things you are going to get. You're going to get host, you're going to get host name, you're going to get hyperreference, origin, path name. You're going to get every single thing about your location here. You're also going to get what's the protocol. Okay. Now you wanted to get the base URL of your lightning org. So how you could do is you will say, okay, go ahead and say location, not local storage. Location dot, first you have to get protocol. Okay, then use plus sign and then say, okay, protocol is giving you this HTTPS. Okay, now you really have to use something called colon and double forward slash. So you could just go there and put the single quotes, and you will see the outcome here. Okay, sorry, protocol gives you HTTPS colon whatever the protocol is, then we need forward slash 2 forward slash we have just added. Now what we need is we need the host. So we'll say location dot host. Location dot host. Okay. And if you want, you could just put into a URL, let's say let URL equal to this, and you just put URL. And you could see this is your base or like base URL for your domain. So very simple thing. This is basically something that you have to use for getting the base URL dynamically for any org, no matter for which org is. This is also going to work for your communities as well. So it's really easy for us to get the URL. Does that help? Or you could also do like, you could say, you can say location dot href. It actually gives you the complete URL here, and then you can just get the substring. So you can say location dot href dot substring or substr, and here you have to put 0, comma, and you have to say location dot href dot index of, and what you have to do is you have to put .com/, and you would get here what you've got up to 4 here, right? And then you can just say .com/, you can add it. So there are multiple ways, but the one that I've just shown you for the first go, that's my go-to way to get the URL. Okay, so
we can also use navigate to something.
Sorry? Navigate to a object is something that is in your Lightning Web Component. It's not here in it's not here in LWC, but we'll see how we can navigate.
Oh.
Yeah, but see, navigate to a object even is going to navigate you to the record page, right? But what if you wanted to navigate to the custom page, custom component, Lightning pages, or knowledge articles? There are so many things. There are so many URLs where you might want it to navigate. So basically, you have to utilize something called page reference in LWC.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we have that. So please don't worry on that front. Okay, anyone else having any questions? And yes, please try to utilize these concepts in your previous assignments. Like when you click on save, so record is saved, just display the message, say that record has been saved, right? Or if there is any error, just display the message, there is an error. Everything you will be easily able to get it done. Now, one thing that I had is, because this is now done, we have got a different thing. Okay. Now, one thing that I wanted to showcase you, let's say you have got something called lightning card. Okay. And within this lightning card, you've got footer, right? So what you could have is, within your footer, you could use something called LWC, sorry, lightning badge, and you could have alpha, beta, gamma, and it's really going to give you very, I'll say, beautiful way. Okay. What the UI it's basically going to give you, and you will see how the badges looks like, and you will be easily able to, you can use it basically at various places. These badges can be used for invoice or something else. You could see here something like this, alpha, beta, gamma. You can have that kind of things. That's one thing that I just wanted to showcase to everyone. So anything else that we have? Okay.